Breaking today, Prince William's fury at what he views as King Charles's betrayal for going ahead with this meeting with Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie and Lily without securing any type of capitulation from the Sussexes, without securing any sort of apology from the Sussexes. It is truly awful. New details emerging from Katie Nicholl, the royal editor of Vanity Fair, who writes that King Charles was adamant that the reunion be kept private. She's reporting that while the palace would not comment on the meeting or how long it lasted, it is understood that Camilla was present. A source tells Vanity Fair that no photographs will be released to the public and that Prince Harry has assured King Charles that he will not speak publicly about the get-together. However, a source close to the Sussexes said Archie and Lily were very excited about seeing their grandfather, adding that there have been calls from a rather frantic Harry to his father's aides trying to make this happen. Meanwhile, sources close to King Charles said he wanted the meeting but was adamant it must be kept private. Sources close to Queen Camilla said she was also looking forward to seeing her step-grandchildren and wanted to be by Charles's side. But Roya Nika in the Sunday Times reporting over the weekend that the Prince of Wales makes of his olive branch, well, not much. She writes, he won't like it, that's for sure. While William now rarely speaks of Harry in royal circles, his feelings of betrayal by his brother's departure from the monarchy and subsequent outbursts will sting. She adds that Friday's family reunion suggests he has been proven wrong. This is Harry on another remark in his interview when he repeated his long-held view that it was not safe to bring his wife and children back to the UK without armed police protection, as he had as a working royal. Meghan was able to quietly slip undetected into the UK with their children on Thursday from their holiday base in Europe during their visit, and it has gone without a hitch. During the event, Harry told children who had lost parents that he marks the anniversaries of his mother's birthday and death with lemon drizzle cake. Asked what makes him laugh at the end of a difficult day, he said, my dog makes me laugh. My children make me laugh. A laugh at the end of a hard day is the best medicine served. Now, do you notice who Harry did not say makes him laugh? A certain Meghan Markle. There's really been a lot about the negativity in this marriage, which is coming through across the course of this visit too. Roy Anika goes on to say, in the coming days, the Sussexes will spend time catching up with friends in the UK, and Harry has said to have pledged not to think about the court judgment. Oh, I wonder why, and whether to appeal against it until he returns to California later this month. Well, if he wants to lose another few mil, why not? Battling is what he knows. Combat has become his default position. The warrior prince who twice went to war for Queen and country has spent so many years fighting with his family, the media, the government, and anyone who doesn't see the world his way that many have wondered if he knows how to stop. But his longed-for reunion with his father and what looks to be the end of the road for his legal battles may just help Harry put down his sword, turn off the combat-ready autopilot, and flick the peacetime switch. Moments after learning of his legal defeat on Tuesday afternoon, Harry told a room of Invictus supporters at Chatham House, what brings us together is far more important than what sets us apart. He would do very well to make that the new Sussex family motto. But this just infuriated me, yet again, because it's the mainstream media giving Prince Harry a pass for the inexcusable. We can't just forget everything he's done over the 6 years because the king has opened the door to one specific meeting. And Tom Sykes, by the way, is very on top of how Prince William really feels about all of this, something that the mainstream media just won't report. But before we get there, let me just show you Sykes of the Royalist Substack revealing the choreography of how this all happened. And I think if you're like me, it's going to make you feel a little bit queasy because it saw the royal editor of Woke ITV, Chris Shipp, who is no longer a journalist, but is simply a propagandist for Harry and Meghan, being rewarded for said propaganda all week by being leaked the story of the meeting. Harry and Meghan updates every single
rumour started to go around. Well, actually, it was more than a rumour because Chris Shipp had explicitly written it on his ITV website. Chris Shipp is, shall we put it diplomatically and say he's known to have good contacts within the Sussex organisation. And Chris was there looking quite pleased with himself as well in the press pen, and everybody was there. And this rumour started to go around that, they were going to be seeing Harry, Meghan and the kids at Highgrove that evening, then of course people started to think about the king. Obviously, there's a lot of royal rota people there who know a bit more about the king's schedule than I would know, because I'm not in that group anymore. And their phones started to ping, saying that first of all, seemed that Charles was going to be done by 3:30, didn't seem to have any further appointments, was in Oxford, not a long way away from Highgrove. Harry was 90 minutes from Highgrove. The whole thing started to gather pace. Then there was a last minute, and just basically everybody, just all the journalists just started to leave.
And by the way, if you believe the Royal Rota journalists when they say, my sources have just told me, no, Tom Sykes said it was just posted on the Royal Rota WhatsApp group.
The message had gone out on the Royal Rota WhatsApp group saying that this meeting had happened. It was a background briefing from the palace, but it is official. The King met Meghan and Harry and the children, the King and Queen.
But Sykes says Charles has capitulated here.
And I have tremendous human sympathy with Charles. Unfortunately, what this actually is, it's a political capitulation to what Harry wanted in the first place. And that is the point that Harry understands, and I'm very certain that Charles understands it. And I think that Charles that is the price that he's decided to pay.
Sykes is also reporting, I would not be surprised to see departures from the King's staff over the coming months as a result of all this. Some aides are very, very unhappy. While all this unfolded, the heir to the throne was playing polo at Guards Polo Club in Windsor, the Princes of Wales in the stands, the pair of them laying on more public displays of affection than we have seen in years. And as Sykes reported, William is appalled by what he regards as his father's betrayal. Now, Tom Sykes believes that this is very much part of what he calls the unwinding of Megxit. And what's interesting is he says that this can only happen because of the King's remarkable recovery. He added, when everyone thought Charles was dying, he did not have the strength or the standing to attempt this. Now that his treatment is going well and he believes he has been gifted time, he is taking back control. And the message to his heir is unmistakable. You may not like it, son, but this is my family and this is how I'm going to run it. History is full of impatient heirs waiting in the wings. What history has never seen is a monarch who faced death, was rescued by medical science, and came back determined to wrestle power back from an heir who had acquired a taste for it and who believes, not without reason, that his father is running the institution in a way that will damage it by the time it lands on him. The conflict between Charles and William is at the core of everything happening in the royal family right now, and Harry is currently the proxy battle. Friends say Harry woke on Saturday buoyed, very happy and really energized. Of course he did. He has just turned the worst week of his public life into the best, with the only verdict he actually cares about. His father ruled in his favour. At the terrible goat yoga event, Harry told bereaved military children that he marks his mother's anniversary with lemon drizzle cakes. On Tuesday, minutes after his court defeat, he told an Invictus audience, what brings us together is far more important than what sets us apart. What sets this family apart is a memoir, 2 documentaries, an Oprah interview, 6 years of litigation, and a statement attacking the King's own court. None of it withdrawn, none of it regretted, and all of it, as of Friday night, rewarded. So Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, I can completely understand today why Prince William feels he's been betrayed. Feels that there is a betrayal going on. I can understand that.
I mean, Dan, this is just such an absolute mess. And it just shows that Charles, I'm sorry, he's just not a great king or leader here. He is letting his heart rule over his head. And he so desperately wants this relationship with Harry that I think he's actually willing to toss his relationship with William by the wayside to please Harry. And he's trying to weirdly, I think, try to please everyone. But in that process, you always end up pleasing absolutely no one. And William, in this case, I think is totally right. Harry has completely and utterly undermined the monarchy for the last 6 years, done immense damage to it. And Charles, at the end of the day, just kind of rewarded him, didn't make Harry apologize for anything, didn't get any concessions from Harry and Meghan. Now, you could say that them just going to the UK with the children and going there without the security that they demanded is somewhat a concession by them, because we know Harry and Meghan are doing this because they desperately need the cash and really nothing else. And that's so critical too, is that Harry and Meghan don't really care about this relationship with Charles. It's all about the money. And Charles is just, again, letting his heart dictate over the crown. And yes, you can be a father in this situation and also a king, but Charles is meddling in both of them. He's not having this clear standard. And Harry and Meghan, of course, will make a mess of this, as they always do. You cannot trust them. I mean, just even the lead up to this trip should have proven to Charles that they are untrustworthy. And yet he still let them in.
He's still letting them in. He's still let them in. It is quite astonishing, because what this unfortunately does, Brittany, is reward bad behavior. Nothing from Harry is going to change at this point. I always like to look at both sides of this argument, though, because, of course, people, Brittany, do also have immense sympathy, too, for King Charles and what he's going through. And one of our contributors here at Outspoken, the royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz, who was very upset initially about this meeting, did a bit of a 180 over the weekend, having thought about it. I want to let you know what she said, Brittany, and then you can respond. She wrote, "Okay, I'm calmer today. I've had some sleep and less sun and tarmac, and I've had some time to process this family reunion. The king, who is 77 and has cancer, finally got to see his grandchildren after 4 years. I see nothing wrong in that, and I hope it brought him some happiness. The children are completely innocent of their parents' actions. I also believe Queen Camilla being there wasn't just to protect the king from manipulation or stress, but also as a power play." And there's that great image, isn't there, of the queen sort of standing over Meghan, sort of looking at her in a brazen manner. Yeah, look, there it is, having to curtsy to the queen. I sort of like that take on it, but I don't know if it's wishful thinking on our part. Tash added, "Harry has trashed and vilified Camilla, and he had to sit opposite her. He had to face her throughout this meeting. In a way, it's the king saying, if you want to see me, you respect my wife." That's some very serious humble pie right there. Also, Harry and Meghan, by attending, have made all their complaints look completely moot. They have just proved they can sneak in and out of the country unseen, that they can go to a royal residence safely and quietly, and again, totally unseen. They now can't use the children visiting as an excuse to demand extra protection. Now, as for Meghan going, well, she was never going to get her apology or the accountability both she and Harry demanded for years from the royal family. Harry and Meghan didn't get anything that they wanted or demanded, and they have just publicly crawled back on their bellies. It shows their desperation. Checkmate. The king got to see his grandchildren, so it's a win for him. And now if anything does get leaked regarding the meeting, it can only come from them, and there will be no pushback if they try to play victim if the king refuses to see them again. I do not think the king is being weak or soft. I think he's called their bluff. It was his invite, his rules, his home. As for Catherine and Prince William, I believe they were told and have a mutual understanding with the king. It's his choice, but they are not touching that with a 10-foot barge pole. I thought there were some really interesting points there, Brittany. What do you make of it? I mean, certainly for months and months, I've been saying, of course, Harry and Meghan can slip back into the country with no one seeing them if that's what they want. And I guess that point has certainly been proven by this visit, because we haven't seen Meghan or the children at all. No paparazzi, nothing.
And this was always 100% a lie by Harry and Meghan. It was a way to try to manipulate Charles and the British government, to blackmail them basically into giving Harry and Meghan the security that they wanted. So in many ways, Harry and Meghan did not get what they wanted. Meghan didn't get her apology. Harry and Meghan going and seeing Charles is, I think, a huge acknowledgement of their overall failure in Hollywood. I think things aren't going well. I don't think product is moving for as ever. I don't think the productions they're working on are particularly moving down the pipeline yet. Everything's stuck in development hell for them. And so I think things aren't going well. And so even just going to the royal family, I don't think Meghan would have set foot in the UK, except for the fact that things aren't going well. And not to mention, in fact, funnily enough, a lot of Hollywood productions are actually moving to the UK now. And so Harry and Meghan look even more foolish for being in Hollywood and all these sorts of things. And of course, everybody understands a grandfather wanting to see his grandchildren. We can all respect that Charles is getting that much needed boost, that much needed connection. But again, this family side, there's a family side in a royal family, and there's the dynastic side. And I think the family side, we all understand. I think the dynastic side is where things get a bit stickier here. Because Harry and Meghan didn't totally get what they wanted, but Charles didn't get that apology either. And so what is Harry and Meghan's end goal here? Because we know we can't trust them. And so that is, I think, the bigger implication, because Charles, following his heart, might drag the monarchy and the crown down with it. And so this has to be done so incredibly delicately. I don't feel like we've seen much leadership from the palace here. I think the palace itself has also been a bit wishy-washy and unclear in allowing Harry and Meghan to drive so much of the narrative. So there, again, is so many facets here. But on a human level, Charles got to see his grandchildren. He does have cancer. He may have limited time. We can all have great sympathy for that. But beyond that, I think there's a lot going on here, and only time will tell if this meeting ended up being a good thing or a very, very bad thing. Because unfortunately, I think Charles has indulged Harry and Meghan's worst instincts.
He has indeed. Speaking of worst instincts, is there anyone worse in the mainstream media than woke ITV, the UK commercial broadcast, which has proven to be just a complete propagandist for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? And I want to do a bit of a deep dive into this because it all was sparked by this interview. Did you see it? I mean, Tash posted here, what the actual F, of Alison Hammond and Prince Harry, where she was just like, I mean, look, gross, just so gross. And he wasn't actually on good form. As Nancy Sidley pointed out, Harry's having a hard time faking it today, and that terrifies me. Look at this.
Hello there, look who I've tracked him down finally, which is so exciting. We're in Birmingham, we're at the NEC, we're celebrating the launch of the Invictus Games, which is happening this.
Oh, look at that face. Look at that face. But Narinder Kaur, who is one of the Sussex Squad propagandists, spun it this way.
I know we couldn't love Alison Hammond any more than we already do, and she really is a national treasure. But look how she single-handedly, in this clip, managed to show every royal reporter, every journalist, and indeed actually Britain, and all the haters, just how to be normal and nice and kind to Prince Harry. Watch this, it's just magical.
I think it was after she butchered the laser. Go on!
That's just a tiny clip. She goes on to ask about Meghan and the children. It's a masterclass. It's actually quite simple. It wasn't probably even masterful for Alison. It was probably just natural to be nice, to ask a man, prince of this country, how is your wife? How are your lovely children? Instead of the venom that he's been receiving and Meghan's been receiving, and his children. Alison just gave an easy peasy masterclass in just being normal to a man, and she took all the background noise out. Bravo to Alison Hammond. We couldn't love you anymore.
But as Lauren the Insider pointed out, this is actually something that Woke ITV has been working on for months. Writing insiders, remember when I called the alarm on ITV being overly sympathetic to Harry months ago? This happened when they slammed Tom Bower live on air across 2 shows when he was a guest, Good Morning Britain and This Morning. I said ITV will be wanting to keep Harry and the palace sweet, and as such would slam Bower and have him on to try and humiliate him. Well, what do we have here? ITV's Alison Hammond and Harry today exclusively covering Invictus. One big club, folks, with your news, narratives and facts being distorted to suit the club's agenda. And I do have to say, Brittany, the coverage over the past week has been revolting, utterly revolting. You know, it all started, didn't it, when Chris Shipp released that fake security report claiming that Harry was such a terrorist threat. Then we got this interview where they didn't ask one question, Brittany, not one question about the legal battle, let alone whether he was going to be meeting King Charles. I mean, how on earth can that show, which it always has, claim to be journalistic? It's nothing more than propaganda.
Exactly, Dan. Obviously, any journalist worth their salt would have asked Harry about this case. And I'm sorry, but Alison looked incredibly unprofessional running up there to him and like jumping on him. It was weird. It was bizarre. It was cringe. It's like the worst of morning television. And so I just don't think that was actually a great example of being quote unquote nice. It was actually cringe and weird. And so Harry in this instance and Meghan, they always kind of try to orbit around the publications that they think will be soft to them, because what Harry and Meghan hate are hard questions. And hard questions are actually really, really key if you want to build back up your public reputation a lot of ways. You have to be able to take the heat. And Harry and Meghan have proven they can't take it. They can't answer a tough question to save their lives. And so I think it's actually a disservice to the industry of journalism in general to not ask them those questions. That not being a journalist's job is not to be nice. It's to be respectful, but fair and tough when the occasion calls for it. It's not their job to be nice. The journalists are there to hold people to account, people in power. And that's what Harry and Meghan refuse to interact with any journalist who would ever question them ever. And if they do, they are immediately struck off the list.
100%. And I mean, Brittany, there was so much to ask about because I think Piers Morgan actually had a really good point. Remember during that speech, Harry had the cheek to say that Britain needs to develop more national resilience. And as Piers replied quite simply, says the world's biggest whining victim playing crybaby. And this is the problem, isn't it? Harry's rhetoric never actually matches up with his own behavior, and we see through it now.
We do, Dan, and he doesn't even live there anymore. So how, like, I've spent more time in the UK in some years than he has. And so how can he have the gall and the cheek to go, well, you're not resilient enough? It's like, but how? And you're not there. You live in California. You have these delusions of grandeur. You're not connecting really with the UK people. You've lost all your friendships in many ways. And so I don't even know what friends are meeting with this week. I didn't even know he had any because he's wandering around a neighborhood just last year, desperately looking for his friend who moved, who didn't tell him that he moved. So Harry, in this instance, is just completely disconnected, always playing the victim card. And it's disappointing that people allow him to continue to spout this nonsense. It's not helpful. And I think it proves again that Harry is this aimless chap who never really had a real job and doesn't know how to interact in the real world. He's completely disconnected from reality. And again, it's shocking that Invictus still wants him around there. I mean, he brings them attention for sure, and they desperately need that because otherwise I just don't think the Invictus Games would have much hope to continue. But at the same time, I think he does immense damage to it because this is not a mentally well man.
No.
In my
Indeed,
opinion.
it's not. Indeed, it's not, Brittany. I think we can all agree on that now. Brittany, some lovely royal news to end today. Princess Margaret's grandson, Samuel Chatto, has announced his engagement to this lovely lady, Eleanor Exergian. They're both 29 years old, both artists. They've announced their engagement and the fact that they will marry in spring next year. But this is particularly sweet, Brittany. The porcelain engagement ring, we've got a photo of it here, Brittany, was made by Sam himself. How wonderful is that?
I mean, it's just the sweetest thing, Dan. I love that they're both artists. We've seen her at Sandringham. We've seen her obviously at Peter Phillips' wedding recently. So it was kind of figured that probably wedding bells are in the future for them. But I think it's so great to see Margaret's children. They're carrying on very much that artistic legacy from their grandfather and a bit from her as well. And so it's fantastic to have another, let's say, kind of adjacent royal wedding here in the future. I think it's awesome that they have obviously. She is familiar with the royal family. They trust her. They enjoy her. And I think it proves that women can marry into this family and be very, very successful. It was just Meghan who chose not to. So I'm so excited for them. Hopefully we should have maybe an eclectic royal wedding a little bit. I think we can both see some amazing fashion and style from both of them. She is very elegant. So I'm really excited to see this wedding next year.
It's going to be fascinating, actually, that wedding. Brittany, the king has been informed. He is said to be very happy for them both. And they're such a lovely family, aren't they, the Chattos? And he's always felt like such a good guy, Samuel Chatto. They have been together for 5 years, I think. They both went to the University of Edinburgh and studied, I think they studied art, actually. So it's a lovely love story, very sweet love story. And there's going to be, as you say, a sort of maybe bit of a bohemian royal wedding, I can imagine. Quite arty. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be very, very interesting. Yeah, exactly. I'm there for it. So we are going to have a royal wedding next year as well to follow Peter Phillips and Harriet Spurling's wedding this year, which gave us so many wonderful moments. So that is something to look forward to. And by the way, if you do want coverage of royal families from all across the globe, especially royal weddings, make sure you subscribe to Brittany's brilliant channel, the Royal News Network, on YouTube. She covers it all, including royal fashion. And I would love